Warm up with eye contact while standing still and walking backward. You want to click your dog for either offering you eye contact, or you can cue your dog to give you eye contact by using their name or a word that means eye contact. So Kiko's offering me eye contact, but she's sitting. So in this tutorial, we want the dog to stand and also offer eye contact. So I'm going to walk backwards and click her as she follows me. And I'm going to try and not get in any other superstitious behavior like spinning or offering other behavior. So I'm working on walking backwards, and I'm also working on eye contact. So I'm going to ask her for eye contact again. Awesome. And this time she was standing up. You're not going to worry about what position your dog is in at the moment. You're just getting eye contact and standing. They can be skew. It doesn't matter. So you're walking backwards, eye contact. Once they're following you backwards with eye contact, you can move on to the next step. You want to make sure that you're feeding your dog at the distance you want your dog to be. So even if you've, in the future, so even if you've clicked your dog for being back here, you click and then you feed them in the position you want them to be in front of you. Now you'll see later in the tutorial that you need to choose which distance is appropriate for your dog and the sport you're doing. Some people like the dog to be right smushed against their body, so they're targeting their body in the front position if you do obedience. But for me and my little dogs, I don't want them to be too close to my feet when in the front position, so I'm going to choose to feed my dog here. Okay. Game 1, Around the Corner Focus Game. We're going to play a game that I call Around the Corner, and basically we're going to be clicking our dogs for moving their rear to line up with us in the front position, but this way that we're doing it, they don't have to think about it. We're just going to capture them doing it naturally to avoid an object. Now you want to make sure that they've seen the object. It's not about them bumping into the object and getting scared. So you're going to practice walking backwards with eye contact and clicking the moment that they readjust to face you again around the corner. So the moment that Kiko comes from this angle and moves around and you see her right back foot swing out, that's the moment you're going to click as the dog lines up to be in front of you again. And I'm just showing you with the lure so that you can see, and maybe you can zoom in. You can see her butt swinging out to face me. So as I step away, she has to swing out. Awesome. So once you've gone in one direction, go the other direction. Awesome. And you might find that your dog is better at going in one direction than the other. Kiko. She wants to go the other way. Awesome. So when you first start playing this game, you don't worry about the dog looking at your eyes. You're just going to worry about them coming around the corner, and then when they're doing really good, then you can start adding the eye contact as well. Good job. You could also use a small coffee table or side table to do this exercise. A tip, if your dog's butt starts sticking out around the corners, so they come around the corner and then their butt goes out at an angle away from the table, is playing this game with a table in a corner. So you're creating a little channel for your dog to go through. Now you don't want to make it too tight at first because your dog might find that a little uncomfortable, so you're just going to practice going through the channel with the dog being comfortable before you make the channel a little bit closer. Come on, Slashers. Awesome. Touch. Good job. Touch. Good job. Touch. Good job. Good job. Awesome. So if you wanted your dog to touch you in the front position, it can look quite awkward depending on your dog's size. Thanks, Slashers. If you have a dog whose head reaches up to your stomach, it can look cool. But if you have a dog whose head reaches your groin, it can look not so cool. If you want to practice this exercise with a sit in front of you, you might want your dog actually to touch you as they sit. So you ask them to sit and touch. to get the obedience, retrieve the dumbbell and hold it against you for you to take it out of their mouth, / touch. So you can practice the same exercise. Touch. Ready? Touch. Yes. / touch. Yes. Good job. Tuck. Tuck. So if you have a dog that's crowding you, touch like this, and you don't like it, as you go around the corner, click and feed back more than you would have them, you know, further back than you would like them at first, and then click them for coming closer, so that they don't think it's anything about body targeting. Good job. So another game you can play is a figure of 8 around a corner, and you're clicking your dog for lining up with you just as you would around the chair. So the moment you're clicking is the moment your dog moves into the position. You can also click your dog for staying in position, but when you first train the front, the most important part is clicking the movement into the correct position. Are you ready, Splash? Touch. Awesome. So I'm going to go in a figure of 8 around this chair. Awesome. Cool. Touch. Great. Now be very careful with this exercise that you don't fall over as you walk backwards. Game 2, the channel focus game. So you're going to stand between 2 obstacles so that when your dog comes towards you to touch your hand, it helps line the dog up. If your dog is scared of the obstacles, you want to start out with them wide, far apart at first, and not worry about your dog being skew. And then when your dog's comfortable, slowly move them together. What the game is you ask your dog to touch, or you click them offering getting into the position, and they might be a little skew at first. Awesome. And you click and feed for your dog being in the correct position. Then you say get it, and you lure your dog between your legs and then throw the treat out so that they have to then reline up, touch, to get back in that position. Awesome. You might need to use longer obstacles if you have a long dog, because as you can see with Splash, if I'm standing here and I throw a treat there, Splash, touch. Her butt might not line up perfectly straight, but if I'm standing here, it's perfectly straight. So it's just about choosing the correct obstacles. Ready? Get it! Woo! Splash, touch! So at first you want to throw the freebie treats right in front of you, but then once the dog is succeeding, you want to widen your angle so that you throw the treat directly behind you, and the dog, touch, has to come around from behind to find the front position. Get it, Splashers, get it. Ready? Get it. Splash, touch. Awesome. Ready? Get it. So once your dog is reliably either offering the front position or coming to your hand when you say touch, you can add your verbal cue after you've reset your dog. So instead of saying touch this time, I'm going to say front, and then if my dog doesn't do it, I'm going to lure the dog in with my hand target or a food lure. And then go back to saying the touch cue or the lure. Touch to make it easier again. Awesome. Now I'm going to try saying that front cue again. You also want to set your dog up so it'll be easier. So if they've been coming behind you to find the front position, when you add the verbal cue, maybe you send them out directly in front of you. Front! Awesome. Now I don't know if I want my hands to be here when I say front, because I do freestyle and I might want to be doing something with my arms. So I'm going to practice that too. Ready, Splash?
Get it.
Splash, front! Yeah! So at first it might not look as good as you wanted it to be, but you're going to click it anyway because you added the new cue. Then if you want to go back and tweak it so that you have a really nice position, you can reintroduce your handler and get that nice position again, and then go back to working on adding the new cue. Splash, front! Awesome. Now she's looking behind my back at my treats. So I don't want to click that too much or I'll get that in the behavior that she's always looking for my hands. So I'm going to say front and then get her to look up at my eyes before I click next time. I get it. Splash, front. Good job.